Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for episode 116 of the MeepleCore Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Jennette, the Metal Meeple, and I'm joined by my co-host,
George Breden.
And in this episode, we talk about the board games A Feast for Odin, the Snallygaster Situation, and Moonrakers. We talk about Gencon's rescheduled dates, some Everdell Kickstarter controversy, and much more. Intern Alexa, ask a random question.
Here's a question for you. If you could be a professional at any sport, what sport would it be?
Well, we know George's. I'm assuming, right?
No, you're right.
So go ahead and say it. I'll let you do it.
It would be professional football. It would be, it would be Champions League.
He's talking about soccer.
That's right.
If I had to be if I could be a professional in a sport, it would be it'd have to be a sport that I actually enjoy doing. So it would either be
chess boxing.
What was that episode we did where you had all these weird sports?
Our top 5, whatever list. Yeah. Chess boxing.
That was pretty good. I think that it would have to be either, I don't know, disc golf is fun, but I don't necessarily know if I'd waste this question on that. Because
professional, is there professional disc golf?
Yeah, there's a professional disc golf association. So the PDGA.
All right.
And people are really good, but I don't know. I feel like there's other sports that you can be, like the skill gap is really large, like golf, right? The skill gap in golf is pretty huge.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I would pick something like golf or ping pong. Yeah, that's my answer. I would probably say golf. Let's just say golf because
ping pong sounds like more fun though.
Well, I don't know. I really like golf though because I like to be out in the, weirdly as it sounds, I like to be out in the outdoors, even though I basically live in a basement. But I like that idea of the nature. This is why I like going golfing on a really nice course, and then the courses are kind of boring. I'm like, this ain't fun. So I don't even know if it's the golf that I'm excited about or just walking around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would pick golf, even though ping pong does have quite a bit of a skill gap. I'm happy where I am with ping pong. Like, I don't want to be like doing that crazy stuff where you're like, bam, 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 you know,
yeah.
Bruce Lee playing some ping pong or anything.
It is an interesting question because you could do any sport you want. You could do a sport that basically gives you a superpower. You could do a sport like those people that just free dive with no equipment for 20 minutes underwater or whatever ridiculous amount it is. I don't know.
Yeah, or you could be like a free solo climber.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name? Alex Hurtlold or whatever?
I don't know. They all seem to end up in a bad way eventually, but
he sounds like a superhuman though.
No doubt.
If I was gaming the system, right, doing power gaming methods, I would probably pick basketball strictly because they're paid very well if you're really good.
I think I got you beat with Champions League there.
Oh, really? Oh, that's fair.
I would imagine. You know, I'm pretty sure Messi makes some pretty good money.
I mean, either way, at some point, it's grand amount of money and then just goes up from there. So
yeah, it's silly money. Yeah.
Either way, I would still pick golf for the question, and just because it's one of the only sports that I would actually enjoy playing that has a massive skill gap, and I am not good at golf. Now, granted, I've not played a lot of golf because I switched to disc golf just because it was easier.
Yeah.
And it's more fun. It's just, you know, instead of having to hit the perfect swing, it's however you want to toss this thing, just do it.
Well, you just need to play more golf. Put in your 10,000 hours, you know.
Yeah, no, but here's the difference. Most disc golf courses are free and golf costs, you know, $12, $15, $21, depending on the course you go to, depending on how nice it is.
Right. Yeah. But you meet people and they, you know, they give you stock tips and stuff.
That is true. I told you that story, didn't I?
No, but I imagine that's what happens.
Oh,
I don't play golf and I don't get stock tips. So
yeah, that's awesome. Have you played much golf?
No, I've played more stocks than I've played golf, and that's not saying much.
But you have played an 18 hole?
No, never.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. It is really nice. If you like the outdoors and just the calmness of it.
I've walked across golf courses before. I like it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's just, it is satisfying. I will say to swing your club and hit a ball straight. I know that sounds dumb, but it is the hardest thing ever, apparently. I am really good at most dexterous sports, where you have to, like throwing darts. I love darts, right?
Yeah.
I like ping pong because I can just do the slicing and hit the ball basically where I want it to be. I mean, I get really good at dexterity based. That's why I like dexterity board games too.
Okay.
Golf, I don't know what it is. I can't do it. Now I can putt like a champion, dude. I am a really good putter. And I'm a pretty good chipper, right?
It's the scale. It's the scale that's the problem for you.
But the thing is with putting, you have to read the green and understand the hills and the way the green is and stuff. Even if I've never played on that hole or whatnot, I'm pretty decent at reading it and getting a really good putt. But when it comes to driving, it's just like, what is this thing? So, well, anyway, there's a bunch of minutes wasted on golf talk.
There we go. So I do a golf podcast.
Yeah. Welcome to the MeepleCore channel. Ironically, I did work for I worked for NBC Universal, and I supported the golf channel at one point. So that was kind of...
You supported them?
Well, I do like IT stuff, right? So I was in charge of a lot of their servers.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, they're jerks. Oh. I mean, a lot of people there, and I think it's just the high stress environment, right? Because it is a lot of money riding on that. And if a server's down for like 10 minutes, they lose like $40,000 in ads. It's crazy, man.
I believe it.
Well, anyway, welcome to a board game podcast or a gaming podcast, because we do video games as well.
It's true.
Speaking of which, we're recording this episode on March 18th. And that means
recovering from St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, how was your St. Patrick's Day?
That was good. I had a good one. How was yours?
Did you drink a lot? What are you recovering from?
No, I did not, but I did not sleep.
You didn't sleep?
Wow. Not really, no. I was up. I was up doing stuff.
That's fair.
I was enjoying it. So, yeah.
All right, well, cool. What I was going to say is 2 weeks from now, the Outriders video game launches, and I'm very excited.
2 weeks. Man, that seems like a long time.
You know what? That's April 1st. I actually think it launches on April 4th. Whatever. 2 weeks from now.
It's like an April Fool's joke.
It is, yeah. But I actually think it is April 4th. I keep thinking it's April 1st for some reason. It's in that vicinity. Yeah,
that's a fun game, though. Check out our last episode.
Yep, very, very fun.
2 episodes ago.
Yeah, 2 episodes ago, right? 114. I don't know. I'm looking quite a bit forward to it after playing it more and then not playing it. When you stop playing a game, or at least in this case, a demo, I did put 10 hours into the demo, so it's a pretty good demo. If you keep thinking about it, then it was a good thing.
Right.
If you played the demo and you're like, okay, cool, and you don't think about it again, the demo was enough to scratch the itch. And does that mean you should look into it more? You know what I mean? So I thought it was a really good demo.
Very cool. I get this Google news feed, and it sends me articles about things that it thinks I care about, and I usually don't. And so for some reason, it always sends me articles about video drivers, video cards, like AMD or Ryzen or I don't know, just like all the time. And I never read any of them, and I don't care. But I saw the other day, they were saying such and such video card is coming out along with Outriders. Like, it's optimized for Outriders. It's just like, wow, really? The game is going to be that big that they're trying to advertise for it? That's interesting.
Oh, I think it's going to be huge. I mean, just to give you some scale, I don't know what the budget is for that, but like Destiny 2 had a $200 or $300 million budget. That's just for development. I mean, it's way more than that now.
Yeah. I wonder how much they rake in though.
Oh, dude, they rake in so much money for these type of games. I mean, some games don't, right? And some games, obviously, just like movies, they come out at the box office and do terrible. But I think this one's going to do really well.
Yeah, and it should.
I think so. All right, well, let's talk about a couple of things we've been up to since last episode. And then we got some cool news to talk about. And then we got some games. So I'll start. Number one, I went and got a haircut. Did you notice that at all? It's kind of funny.
Now that you point it out, yeah. Yeah, it's
which absolutely proves my point. I told my wife after I got my hair cut, she's like, "Do you feel different?" I was like, "No, actually." She's like, what? I was like, I feel normal. Like I went back to my old haircut. It's actually a faux hawk, but right now it's just laying down, right? It's not spiked up.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I literally feel like I have felt for the last 15 years. Cause I started wearing this haircut in like maybe like 2007. So like 14 years. I've had it for a very long time. So now I just feel like I shed it off my COVID hair.
Right.
And went into back to my normal hair.
But see, you're not normal. You're a thrill seeker to go out and get a haircut and take that risk. I'm not there yet. This hair is going to be a lot longer before I get it cut.
When you do get it cut, what are you going to do? Like, what's it going to look like?
That's a great question.
Because I mean, you've always had your hair a little bit longer.
Yeah, and
since I've known you anyway.
I'll probably just get it like trimmed up or something. I mean, I usually have it a little bit long. Yeah,
that's fair.
We'll see. It depends. You know,
I'm a thrill seeker.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I have a job, or do I have to go impress somebody and do a freaking interview or something? 'Cause that's what's going to determine it, I think.
I think that as long as your hair is clean and it looks, well kept or whatever, I don't think it matters how long your hair is.
You don't think so? You don't think that people have certain preconceptions about longer male hair?
I think they do.
When it comes to professional positions?
I think they do, but they're not worth working for. Now, I will go on a massive rant about corporations and stuff. Like, here's the thing. I know a lot of people, well, I'm just going to streamline it down to just the hair thing, the looks. I think that you can look professional, right? Or not, actually, that's not even what I wanted to say. What I was going to say is I think you can have different styles of hair and make it look nice.
Yeah.
But the problem is if you go in there and you're like, oh, they should just accept me for who I am. And your hair's like down to your shoulders and it looks like you ran Greaso through it or something.
Right. Yeah.
No, see that's like a hygiene problem, even though right now it probably doesn't matter because everybody's working from home. But if you're being hired to be in front of people, I kind of believe that you should be able to have certain things, right? You should be able to have long hair if you're a man or even some piercings and things like that, as long as it looks nice. Now, if you got like a piercing of a middle finger or something like,
I'm with you. Like piercing of a middle finger.
You just got a flipping the bird in your nose. Like that's a problem.
Have you seen that?
No, but my point is like, if you're wearing some kind of jewelry that has like symbolism or whatever, like you got a pentagram, right. Or you've got
intending to be offensive. Yeah. Okay.
Right. If you're just like wearing stuff, it's like, check out my jewelry. But if you got like a colored stone in your nose or your eyebrow, I kind of understand if you've got like 55 piercings in your face and you're going to be in customer service or something, or like not like in sales or something, not like, working at Walmart.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like, I don't think people should necessarily discriminate based on looks like that, but I know that it happens. So
I do agree with you. And my thing is just go in there, be yourself. If they don't want to hire you because of your looks, then one, that is discriminatory, but you're never going to catch them on that, right? Unless they actually say you look like or whatever. But the thing is, it's like, just don't try to like hide everything that makes you and try to work for a company that doesn't want you. They want the fake you. You know what I mean? Like that's like dating somebody, but you go and dress in a suit and tie to date them. And as soon as you start dating, you switch over to your like rags and stuff. Just be who you are, man. Let people see you. And if they don't like you, that's fine. Move on. Because otherwise, if they find out who you are, what's it going to happen? Like you're going to have this controversy between you. Yeah, I don't know. Now we're getting into some crazy stuff here.
Back to board games.
Yeah, back to board games. Anyway, I bought Mario 3D World for my son, which is the newest Mario game, and it looks really cool. And he's been playing it with his babysitter who comes over with her Switch.
Nice.
Really, really neat stuff. And the only other thing I'll mention other than that game is I've been playing a game called Marble Knights on the phone. It's part of Apple Arcade. And basically, it's like Knights of the Round Table, which is hilarious. They call them Knights of the Round. But they're knights that ride on marbles. Nice pun there.
Yeah, are they running on top of the marbles, like trying to balance? Okay.
Right. I thought they were actually part of the marble at first, but at one point I lost the marble and my guy's hopping around with his feet and stuff. So I don't know. doesn't make any sense to me, but it's kind of fun because it's kind of like Labyrinth, where you can play it with tilting the phone to move your guy around, and then you hit a button to swing your sword and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or you can set it to like a joystick and move your guy around, but you're still a marble, so you've got that waviness to you. Like if you go too fast towards an edge, you have to like be able to stop. You don't stop on a dime.
Right. Marble Mania was one of my favorite arcade games.
Marble Mania?
Yeah, where you had the trackball and you had to go through the obstacle course. Oh, man.
Yep, that was good. I also like, there's another game. It's kind of like a marble game. It's called Mercury, where you're a ball of mercury. And so you tilt the board and, your mercury can get sliced in half. So now you got 2 piles of mercury you're trying to use, because you tilt the board to move.
Yeah.
And if you tilt it left,
cool.
then you got to, 2 piles of mercury, and you just split up. And it was a really good game. It was on PSP, PlayStation Portable. Anyway, Marble Knights is pretty fun. I'm like 4 or 5 stages into it, and I'm kind of getting more impressed with the Apple arcade games in general.
Yeah. So this is just Apple. You can't get on an Android phone at all.
Nah, it's a subscription service, just like the, Xbox has their, Game Pass or whatever.
Right.
This one is the Apple Arcade. It's free for the first month, but it's $5 after that. Okay. There's like 130-ish games, maybe more, that are, they're not like AAA titles, but they do have some that are really close to that. Most of them are like a little bit deeper than normal games you would get on a mobile app, except there's no ads. There's 0 ads. There's 0 in-game content, like purchasable stuff.
Oh, that's good.
So any games that are on this, those are the requirements it has to have. So it's a full game. It's almost like launching a game on your Nintendo or something.
Okay.
Good stuff. Anyway, what you been up to?
I haven't been up to too much. I just wanted to mention real quick, this is for you, actually. You recently got a package with some promos in the mail.
Yeah.
What did you get?
Oh, from James?
From James, yeah.
Yep, James was nice enough to send me... Oh, I thought I had him over here.
Loyal listener and friend of the podcast.
Yeah, gaming buddy.
Yeah.
He sent me the Vindication promo and the Mysthia.
Oh, yeah.
It's the hardest name to say. Which I thought it was just a promo card, but apparently the Mysthia promo is actually like a pack of cards. Like it comes in a blister pack you open like you're buying a Magic the Gathering blister or booster.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, now you have to get the game though.
I do, and that literally makes it more attractable to me, or whatever.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna get it so you can play Ikayon and Mysthia together.
The fall.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah. And I've got some promos on the way from James. I live a little farther away, so I'm sure they'll get here pretty soon. But thanks, James, for that. And then the only other thing I really want to mention is not really what I've been up to, because I honestly have not been doing much. But I did back a game on Kickstarter. This is a game to satisfy my party game itch. And it looks pretty cool. It's called Ghost Rider. Writer, like, writing. And
like WR, not Flaming Skull.
I think I just said exactly Ghost Rider. But it's Ghost Rider, where you write the clues to the word that you have, and your team is trying to guess what the word is. And so you're all mediums communicating with a ghost, and the ghost is the one writing out the letters to the word. And so you have a hand of cards, and you hand them a card, and it'll have a question on it that says, like, what body part do you associate this thing with? And maybe it makes no sense whatsoever. Like, it might not even apply, depending on what the ghost's word is. Or it could be like, what color is it? Or, you decide what card you want to hand the ghost. And then the other team doesn't see what the question is, but the ghost starts slowly writing out the answer. So, like, if it was blue, it'd be like B, L.
Would you write it real slow?
But you write it slowly because at any time, somebody on the team who asked the question can say silence, or that doesn't make any sense. Since
like stop.
Yeah, stop. Yeah, I think in the game you're supposed to say silencio, which makes even less sense. But whatever. I think that's an easy house rule. I think it's just going to be like desist or something, like just stop. And so, and then you've got a piece of information, but you also know what the clue was. So you know it's like blue or black or whatever. And then the other team asks their question. You don't know what that question is, but you see the ghost start writing it out. But both teams are trying to get to the same ghost word. So in the end, you're going to have a sheet of paper with like 6 partial words on it. And you know what 3 of them go to, but 3 of them you don't know what they go to, but you can kind of guess because you're trying to figure out what the word is. It seems really, really clever.
That does seem kind of neat.
Yeah. And it's one of these games where I feel like, okay, that's a really cool idea. Do I really need to buy that as a game, or can I just make that up and, ask a question and have a word in mind? It's like a parlor game where anyone could play it. But to be fair to these guys, the box art, the art on the sheets that the ghost is writing on, and just everything about the game, all of the design is beautiful. Check it out. Ghost Writer on Kickstarter.
That's cool. So they put a lot of the effort into the presentation, since they know the game is pretty much just open source, I guess, or whatever
I would think so. And I do that a lot. I just like try out a game and just play it. But this one, I'm giving them my money because they really did a beautiful job.
Well, that's awesome.
Oh, and this is the same group that made Visitor to Blackwood Grove, which is a game that was sold in Target and is based on Zendo, but has a theme to it where there's an alien that's come to Earth and a kid's trying to protect him, and then the FBI agents trying to find him, and you have to figure out what will pass through his force shield and what won't. Like, the theme was brilliant to add onto the game of Zendo. So it's a clever game.
What was the name of it again?
Visitor in Blackwood Grove. And it's a fragile game. It's got some parts of it that are not ideal, but I really do enjoy it.
The Visitor in Blackwood Grove, is that the party game you're talking about?
No, that's Ghost Rider. But they made Visitor in Blackwood Grove as well, which I think is also a very good game.
Okay, cool.
Well, it's a good game. It's got some issues, but house rule it. You're good.
Anything else, or we go on to the meat? The new, well, not really the meat, but the news. All right. Well, we got 2 things in news that we're going to talk about. The number 1 here is, again, Everdell for like 3 weeks in a row has got up on our news radar.
Well, it's almost the number 1 game for me, so I think that's fair.
That is fair.
But it's not. Inish is the number 1 game. But still, Everdell's really good.
And the only reason we're bringing it up again is just because there's a little bit of controversy, and we like to just weigh in on certain things. This one specifically is price related. So in Everdell, for $60, you get New Leaf plus Mistwood. And for $100, which is $40 more, it basically gives you the big old box of storage alongside New Leaf and Mistwood. But for $200, you will get basically everything for Everdell ever released, as far as I know.
Yeah, and considering that people who have backed all those things that have been released for Everdell over all this time have spent way more than $200 already, that seems insane to me.
That's true, but here's the interesting thing. One, I kind of get some of it because boxes are expensive, right? So they're not, to not include a box for, let's just say, so it has Everdell. Let's just say a box that's bigger than that, right? So Pearlbrook, Spinecrest, Belfair, and then you got New Leaf and Mistwood, which they're not including boxes for those either. Weirdly enough, boxes are really expensive for board games. If you put a quality box.
I guess so. It must be, because if you just bought Everdell, you're looking at $60, easy, 70 maybe. And then if you buy each of those expansions, Pearlbrook, Belfair, Spinecrest, those are going to run you 50 a piece, 40 maybe, right? So you're already looking at most of the cost of that.
That's true. And it's weird. Like, I see what they're doing and it's fine with me, but I also see it from the other people's perspective. Like, man, I spent like $500 on Everdell stuff, whereas these people are getting it for $200. Exactly. This is why. And you can't even give me a damn box to put everything in. Just give me the box. If you buy the first 2? No, if you buy the first 2. Or New Leaf and Mistwood, you mean? And you can show them that you own all the others. Yeah, give them the box. Come on. Yeah, it's interesting because the logistics behind allowing that to happen is rough at this point. If they planned it from the beginning, it probably would have been doable. Or if they did something where they look at your backer history, and if you can,
Right. Yeah.
it's still a logistical thing because how many people they got back in this thing? 20,000 people. I mean, they would literally have to go through each person to see if they backed a previous project, unless they had some way to do it automatically or whatever.
We need blockchain.
Blockchain. Well, really, they just need reporting. So I don't know. I'm torn. I think that we see this all the time in video games. First off, where a video game will come out, let's just say Fallout, right? Fallout comes out with 5 expansions over the course of 2 years. Each one's $15. The base game was $60.
Are we talking about a video game?
I am.
Oh, okay.
This is why. So that's why I was saying we see this all the time in video games, right? So you got a $60 game.
Yeah.
Let's just say for easy math, it has 4 expansions,
Okay.
15 a piece. That's $60, right?
Yep.
It's a $120 game
Right.
over the course of 2 or 3 years. Then, since it did so well, they released the Game of the Year edition, which is $40, and it includes all that plus like a couple of DLC armor packs or whatever. I guess, I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to it because, it's just something that's happened all the time in video games.
I didn't think that was how it worked. I thought that usually when they do a video game and they release like, I don't know, the Ultimate Edition or something, it's going to be $100 or something. It's going to be more money.
Nah, it's usually it's never above like whatever the going price for video games is. Like $60 is a pretty normal price right now for video games when they're first released. But the Game of the Year edition will either come out slightly below that or at that.
Huh.
But no, Game of the Year edition, like 2 or 3 years later, won't ever be released with a $100 price tag. I mean, unless it has like like a statue with it or something, that's a collector's edition.
Yeah.
So I'm torn because I get it from people's perspective, but at the same time, there is a lot of stuff that's not being included. And I don't think people estimate the cost of actual boxes.
I guess because with video games, you just wait and get it on Humble Bundle.
You wait or get in a Humble Bundle. Yeah. And well, that's a whole nother thing because digital doesn't even come with physical product. But when it comes to board games, right, the box is a really expensive thing. Like a Ticket to Ride style box literally will add, $7 to $8, maybe $10 onto the cost of production just because that's the packaging of the whole thing, right?
Okay. Well, then this box should be $7 or $8, not 30, 40.
But it does have all the trays and stuff like that. It isn't just a big box. I mean, it does have like a bunch of storage solution built into it.
Right.
Not really built in, but the trays that you can put in to keep everything organized.
Yeah.
So it does come with quite a bit of stuff. It's like 2 different things. Is it worth $40?
No.
And number 2, it is included in the $200 price tag. So I'm assuming, right? Because it doesn't actually say.
No, it's included. It just doesn't have the same cover because it's a different.
Oh, because it has the complete collection, right? But it comes with the same thing that the big box would.
Same exact. So you take that 40 out of it. Now you're getting everything for $160.
Right. And so $160 if you take an expansion. So right now these expansions are what? 30 a piece, I think.
Yeah.
Well, so just 60, going off this.
That's 60 just for those 2 expansions. You're getting the entire Everdell up to now for $100.
Well, hold up. Because it also has, what else does it have? New Leaf, Mistwood, Big O Box. Oh, that's the $100 Big O Box. Oh, here we go. I just didn't scroll down far enough. So you have Everdell, Pearlbrook, Spinecrest, Belfair, New Leaf, Mistwood. Let's say 30 a piece for every one of those, right? That's $150, and then Everdell.
Right. And I can tell you Pearlbrook was $55 or whatever by itself.
Oh, Pearlbrook is a more expensive expansion than these others?
Well, it was. Apparently it's not anymore. No, people who've backed Everdell over and over, they've been reamed every time.
You think it's like each expansion's too expensive for what you get?
Yeah. I do think so.
That's fair.
I mean, and this is one of my favorite games. So even taking that into consideration.
Well, either way, if you haven't played Everdell, $200 is great.
It's great. Yeah, if you want to get Everdell, get it now. You lucked out.
Unfortunately, I'm not backing it anyway, just because I've spent so much money on other things. And honestly, like, I'm done with this Kickstarter crap. This FOMO stuff is killing me. You know, if you're gonna Kickstarter something and release it later, which I think they are with this one, but it's gonna be $350. So number one, $350 for the complete collection is probably, it's still a good deal, but it is way more money than $200
for the complete Everdell collection.
Right. In retail, I don't remember where I saw it. I think it's on this page somewhere or was in one of their emails, but the complete collection is retail going to be $350.
Wow. That's not going to happen.
You think that's too expensive?
Yeah, of course. Holy crap.
That is true. Yeah.
But that's realistically what everybody else has already paid.
Right. And so they're giving a massive discount for the complete collection for this Kickstarter. You're saving with shipping. It's $26 for shipping with pretty much everywhere, right? In the US and stuff.
Sure.
So you're paying $225, $226, which is a great deal for all this. $350 is kind of, well, first off, if you buy it for $350 retail, you've never heard of the internet. No one's going to pay $350 or full retail price for a game unless they buy it from like a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
But if you say like take just at minimum 20% off of that, right? You're paying like $190, maybe $180 or $280.
Yeah.
$290 from, you know, like Cool Stuff or Miniature Market or whatever online card house.
Seems like too much. But if I add up everything I put together for all the Kickstarters I've already done, I'm sure it's easily that much. Yeah.
So it's interesting that it's kind of it depends on where you have been on which take you should, like, for instance, the complete collection with everything for Everdell. What would you pay for it if you didn't own anything? Like, what would you think was a fair price? Because obviously $200 is a great price.
Yeah, that's true. I guess there's 5 expansions now.
There's 6. No, 5 expansions, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The complete collection also comes with the collector's upgrade packs and the storage solution, the wooden Everdell or Evertree content.
I guess I would pay $200 for all of it. Yeah.
$200 is a great price. I get it.
I think it's actually a fair price. It really is.
Yeah.
I just wish they hadn't ripped everybody else off for $150 altogether.
It's interesting because that's such a deep discount on this. Like, I would expect the game to be
fair price. Like, they've ripped us off every single Kickstarter is my point.
Right. What I was going to say,
kicked us in the teeth every time, and now they're like, you have to pay $40 for I'm going to watch my language, a box.
I guess you don't have to have the box.
Get it,
but
like
the box is sweet.
Remember those cheap ass games that came in that's what they were called. That was the name of their company, right?
That is actually the name of the game. Yeah. Or the company, right?
I'm not actually cussing this time. And you'd put them they come in a plastic bag. They wouldn't even come in a box.
That's true. That is true. And honestly, that's what I was going to say a little bit earlier is I love expansions that come with disposable boxes. Like, for instance, Nations, the board game, right?
They're disposable anyway, like.
Well, right. But here's the thing. Nations came in a pretty nice box. It's kind of like a smaller version of the Fantasy Flight coffin box, right? It's a bigger box.
Yeah.
Take like a 2 ticket to rides next to each other type of box.
Right.
Basically, it's got stuff in there, but there's so much more room. But the expansion,
because they know you're going to put everything together.
Right. They only released one expansion. I wish they would have came out with more. That's neither here nor there. But the expansion came in this flimsy box that looks like, you know how you buy a deck of cards and it comes in a blister that you open?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Picture that, but like really big, like a 10 by 12, like a manila folder, but it's like a half-inch thick.
Yeah,
right?
the kind of box you hate to get if that is the main game.
That would be garbage. That's like Hasbro at Target type of stuff, you know? But with it being an expansion, you just take all that stuff out. I mean, I guess some people probably saved it because it will fit in the box. But I took all the stuff out, threw it in the box. I don't miss it at all.
No, that's perfect.
But the bigger thing is it knocks down the price of the expansion because all these boxes, these really quality boxes you pay for that, man. It's not like it's a free thing. It's not, The most expensive thing in retail products is packaging. And the only packaging you have with board games is the box and the cellophane. That's it. And cellophane is massively cheap. But with expansions where people are doing like gold embossing and, spot UV and all this other stuff, that is literally marketing material when it's on a shelf at a store. That is it. So you're paying for the marketing material. So all those expansion boxes that you throw away and you put all the components in your box, you literally spent more money than you should have to have that content.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What is it? Is it Starling Games that did Everdell? Yes. They've foisted that on everyone who's done every one of their Kickstarters and who've made them where they are, doing all these Kickstarters and overpaying for every one of their games. And doing it happily because, there's such nice components, this beautiful art, we'll pay for that. It's too much, but okay, I'll go ahead and support the company. And they take no notice of that. They've given nothing back here.
Yeah. And all they did was like make it cheaper for new people.
Right. That's where I'm disgusted.
Yeah. So you're actually backing this Kickstarter. How's the comment section look? I
have not looked.
Oh, that's probably where all the good stuff is, right?
I'm sure I don't know. I'm sure it's a mixed bag because there's so many people that have plenty of money and they're just like happy to get more Everdell.
Right? They just see Everdell, they hit buy, they don't even care anymore. I'll just wait for it to come. Yeah,
and there's the people that are getting all of it for a really good price. They're super happy too, right? So not everyone is going to be disgusted, but I'm disgusted. I can tell you.
That's fair. I don't know. I've really debated on backing it strictly because I'm very shocked that the complete collection, by the way, I own no Everdell stuff, but I have made it my goal to own all my top 20 games. And this is in my top 20.
Yeah.
Actually, this was in my top 10.
This could be your chance then.
It could. And I'm really upset that it's my chance because I spent $170 to acquire a Kion.
Right. Which is also in your top 20.
It is. This thing though, man, I mean, it's crazy that from 350 down to 200, that's a massive difference between retail. I would expect most Kickstarters, I expect like 250 Kickstarter, $200. You save $50, which is great, but it's not like I have to buy. This is like, man, if you really want Everdell, this is the thing you should get if you don't own anything for real.
Right. And I question whether that's really true. Are they going to put the complete Everdell in a store and actually slap a $350 price tag on it? I'm sorry, I don't see that happening.
I don't know, but on the actual campaign, it has a Everdell the Complete Collection, and it has a little gold circle that says $350 with a slash to it, and it says $199.
I think the last $350 game I saw was like the giant Takenoko.
Yeah, or like the collector's edition of Small World. Actually, that might be a lot more expensive. But yeah, Takenoko was like $350.
It came in a giant wooden box with like an 8-inch high panda or something. Like,
yeah, man, it's sad this has 6 days left because I don't want to miss it, right? Because I don't want to spend $350. But realistically, I would probably be fine with just having the base Everdell game, and I might be able to get that really cheap later on or trade for it or something. Because all these people who are buying the complete collection are going to get rid of their base copy.
That might be the thing to do, honestly.
It might be because there's no way that I'm going to play with all 5 expansions at the same time.
Well,
I just don't.
You can't say that for sure, but probably not.
No, well, okay, here's what, I might do it with somebody else's stuff, but if I owned it, I'm not going to go out of my way to do that. I think it's going to be one of those games where you add an expansion or two and then maybe switch it up next time. And
right.
I don't think it'd be interesting. We'll do it. We'll play all 5 expansions and we'll see how good it is with all 5. I think it's going to be way too complicated and convoluted for what it actually is.
Yeah. But you're paying a lot for components that you don't actually need in this collection edition as well, because every one of these expansions came with a bunch of new player colors and animal meeples. So now you got like 20 different kinds and it's a 5-player game or whatever.
That is true. Yeah, you are paying for a lot of stuff you don't need at that point.
I mean, there's probably more than that. There's probably 25 different kinds of animals.
Options.
I don't even know. You got lots of options, let's just say. Yeah.
That's true. So what did you back it for? Just the, did you actually back the 2 expansions plus the box?
I did, but I might just change it and get the collector's edition anyway, and then sell the other game to, recoup the loss.
It'd take up less space.
I won't. I'll sell it for less than 350.
That's true. Well, if you do that, let me know.
All right, we got to talk.
Yeah, we got to talk. All right,
this could work out.
We done with this then?
Yeah. Let's move on.
All right. So we're going to move on to something else that recently just happened. And that's Gencon postpones its 2021 convention to September 16th through the 19th. This has been met with a lot of people saying yay and a lot of people saying nay. It's interesting to me. I said this in the chat between all of, us, our group of games or whatever, or gamers. But here's the thing. I'm not even joking when I say this. I made my wife, I told my wife, when we get married, we do not plan anything in August. So we got married in September. When we were going to have our kids, I made sure that we only did things, quote unquote, during months plus 9 did not equal August.
That's dedication.
Dude, it was. I'm not even joking. I sound like some crazy person right now, but I'm absolutely serious.
Oh my God.
More importantly, though, we kind of wanted our kids to have like birthdays around ours because mine's in November and hers is in December. So we wanted to have like this huge birthday month or whatever.
All right.
And it worked out. We ended up having a kid that has a December birthday and a January birthday. So it's like a 3-month party. And then Gen Con decides to postpone this convention onto my exact anniversary date, like the 17th. No. So September 17th is my anniversary. What makes it worse is that this specific year is our 10-year anniversary. And we've talked about it for like the past 5 or 6 years that when we have our 10-year anniversary, we're going to go back to Florida where we got married on the beach. And, later on it changed. We're going to go back to Florida on the beach and renew our vows or whatever. But more importantly, now we're going to take the kids back to where we got married so they can see first off the ocean for the first time.
Lovely. Yeah.
And so they can see where mommy and daddy got married and all this other stuff.
That's really cool. But I have to say, when you have an anniversary, they're usually themed, right? Like there's the paper anniversary and there's the, I don't know, diamond, like I don't even know what they are, but whatever. So is the 10th, does that have a theme? And could you tie that into Gen Con somehow? There's got to be a way. Gen Con has so many things. You could easily tie in any theme.
I don't know what the 10-year anniversary is.
I'm looking it up.
But we have been doing that. Like the paper and the leather and the ceramic. I don't remember what they were, the order or whatever.
Right.
But we did that. We bought like linen suits one year.
Oh my God. That's awesome. All right. Well, this says, I just Googled it real quick. The 10th year of marriage. We should have asked the intern, but that's okay. The 10th year of marriage is marked with tin or aluminum.
Tin or aluminum. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. It represents the durability and flexibility needed to sustain a loving union.
All right. Well, cool.
However, for some reason, diamond is the stone of choice for the 10th wedding anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Obviously.
I mean,
diamonds are garbage. Diamonds are a good stone, but they're not worth like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, well, you're not getting any diamonds at Gen Con, I don't think so.
No, that's why we went with sapphire because one, we like blue, like both of our favorite colors, blue. Okay. And we were looking at rings, like, why do we want to have a ring that looks so much like other people's, right?
Sure,
so
yeah.
Hers is a big sapphire.
Very cool.
She's gotten more compliments about her ring than anybody else I know that has like a normal diamond ring.
Yeah, because just everyone's got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why not just be unique, man? Who cares that you're wearing a $5,000 ring or something? If you're wearing a $500 ring and it looks way cooler, I'd be more impressed that way. I don't even care if it's a giant ball of glass. If it looks pretty cool, it looks cool,
Like a crystal ball. So
yeah. It's like an 8-ball. You shake it. All right, wait.
It's going to be tough to tie in tin or aluminum, though, I have to say. Gen Con doesn't have a lot of that.
I'm not 100% out of this.
Some fake armor.
Fake armor. I'm not 100% out of the Gen Con thing right now because I told my wife, let's just wait and see what happens. First off, we don't even know if Gen Con's still actually going to happen in person.
That's true. The state of the coronavirus could not have improved much by then.
Exactly. Now, I think if nothing really changes for the worse, it's going to happen in person. It's going to be, according to them, limited in scope and in attendance for the on-premise version. They are still going to do the Gen Con online at the same time. And a lot of their events have been moved to the online only stuff.
Can you imagine the opening of the exhibit hall when everyone rushes in and they have to stay 6 feet apart?
There's a reason to be in front right there. But more importantly, I mean, like this Gen Con's going to be so scaled down because if the attendance is capped, like in the exhibitor hall is capped because they're going to apply social distancing and stuff. They can't cram all the exhibitors in the same area, right? They're going to have to.
You wouldn't think, no.
And so I think that
how are they going to do that? Because so many people, they already have their badges. They didn't go before because it was canceled, basically. So they have to honor those badges and yet cap the attendance. How are they going to do that?
I don't think as many people. I mean, obviously 70,000 people didn't pre-register or whatever.
I think a lot
maybe
of people
20,000 did.
More than that.
I don't know what the actual number is, but
okay.
Either way, I think that a lot of exhibitors aren't going to be there either from, not want to be around coronavirus and not suscepting any of their employees to it as well.
Right. That would be my choice.
Even on top of that, it wouldn't be worth it. If you're a small publisher and now you're going to a convention instead of having 70,000 people, actually, that's 70,000 unique attendees, right?
Yeah.
Well, and even I think it was 110,000 turnstile. That's a lot of people in comparison to let's just say they scale it down to half, which is 35,000. I mean, is it still worth like a small publisher going?
Oh, it's worth it for a small publisher. It's probably not worth it for a big publisher.
No, that's fair. Yeah. Cause I guess the prices probably aren't cheaper. So
like if you're a small publisher, you still want to get exposure, 30,000 people still good.
That's a good point. And if bigger publishers don't show up, I think bigger publishers still will just because they have so many people and they run it more like a corporation. So it's like, you guys are going to this convention unless you quit. You know what I mean? Whereas small companies are, more caring about their employees and such. Although I will say that majority of board gaming companies are like 10 people or less anyway, except people like Fantasy Flight or Asmodee or something.
Yeah.
Most of them are really small companies.
I wonder how it's an interesting thing because you know how there's always this sort of con crud sickness that goes around Gen Con anyway?
Right.
So already it's not hygienic. Already it's an issue. I mean, I don't think I would go.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that, let's face it, is people playing games for days on end and getting their immune system worn down.
That is true. Not sleeping and not eating well. And
you bring it on yourself. But at the same time, there's a lot of sickness that goes around Gen Con. There
is. Well, there's going to be more information that comes out in the coming months, I'm assuming. It just irritates me that they had to push it back in the first place. And it has nothing to do with anything other than they need more time to make it happen. And that's unfortunate because a lot of people are like teachers and going back to school and everything like that.
Exactly.
Like kids and all that stuff who would attend. So maybe those people can go on Saturday or Sunday, but a lot of people are complaining in the Gen Con forums on Facebook and stuff, or like groups or whatever, that I teach that basically I can't go. Or, some people are like, I have to plan my vacations a year in advance. Thanks.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. They're like you. Yeah.
And they're like me. Well, that one was planned 10 years ago. Anyway.
Right.
But I don't know. It's really sad because I've never missed a Gen Con since 2003. So when I first started going.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And it's just going to really hurt me not to go.
Yeah, man.
And the other thing, it's like, you're only pushing it back 5 weeks, guys. Like Origin's rescheduled 3 months. Like what, what's going to change in 5 weeks? You couldn't keep it the same and make more people happy.
Right.
It's crunch time.
It seems wrong. So do you have a little Gen Con die or some kind of memorabilia from every time you've gone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. I got one from every single year. I actually got multiples from every single year.
I've gone a lot, but I've missed a lot of years too.
Have you?
Yeah. If I'm over in Ireland and I want to, enjoy myself over there, I'm not necessarily coming back early for Gen Con.
That's fair. And you usually go every year almost, right?
I was, yeah. It's been a while now, so.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this develops. We're going to obviously talk about it a lot more in the future podcast, but I think we're going to end that for now.
All right, yep.
All right, well, let's get to it. If you want to support the show, check out MeepleCore.com. Click that Humble Bundle partner link, get redirected to Humble Bundle, and buy some games or books and all that stuff for a very cheap price. Support charity, support MeepleCore, and also check out patreon.com/MeepleCore. But on this episode, we have 3 games that we're going to talk about. That's A Feast for Odin, The Snallygaster Situation, and Moonrakers. So first up, we have A Feast for Odin.
This is a 2016 release. The tagline on Board Game Geek is, puzzle together the life of a Viking village as you hunt, farm, craft, and explore. It is designed by Uwe Rosenberg. The artist is Dennis Lohausen, and the publisher is Feuerlandspiele, plus 11 more.
Plus 11 more. I think this is Z-Man in the US.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah.
So I've got some screenshots here of Feast for Odin on Tabletop Simulator as we played it. We do own a copy of this, but obviously for obvious reasons we played it online. A Feast for Odin is basically a glorified, or not, I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's a very vast worker placement game where you are worker placing on all these different spots in order to gain polyomino tiles that you're then going to put on your personal player board to cover up stuff. That's pretty much the synopsis of the game, I think. I mean, there's really not a whole lot more than that. There are, the middle board has literally, I think, 63 spaces that you can go to, but it's like broke down into 4 columns and a bunch of rows. And each row has like a theme, right? And so like, for instance, there's one row that has like go to the market, but then the actions get better and better for each column because you're going to be taking worker guys in 1, 2, 3, or 4 and placing them out on that space depending on what column. So column 1's of 1 guy, column 2 is 2 guys, and that's usually because somebody else took the first column, right? And then, so that action's pretty much the same, typically, or at least a little bit different, but you're still spending 2 guys to do it.
You're getting a better action the more people you put
exactly
on the action. Okay.
In addition to that, I think they're called occupation cards, but basically, if you put 3 or 4 guys, you're going to be able to draw an occupation card or play an occupation card. And those are going to give you like passives. Anytime you hunt, add this, or anytime you get this type of item, get another one, whatever. Or they might be like a one-off that you play and it might say, for every of this, gain this, that one time, and that's it. But they're all worth victory points at the end of the game as well.
Those occupation cards, that's a direct throwback to Agricola. This is Uwe Rosenberg's greatest hits, like mashed together.
Greatest hits.
When you said that it was a glorified something, I really thought you were going to say a glorified patchwork.
Patchwork? Well, let me finish the rules and then we'll talk.
Okay.
So the game pretty much has either 7 or 8 rounds. I forget how many, but each round has all these different phases that you run through. And a lot of them are really quick. Like the first phase is you get a new Viking. So there's this table on your board that has these Viking guys, which are your worker placement dudes. And when you get one, it opens up a new spot. More on that in a minute. You're going to have the harvest where you get a bunch of food tiles. There's a turn exploration boards. There's these, new islands that you can buy basically, and then start putting pieces on. Those flip during certain parts of the game and they become different boards. You get to draw a new weapon card. These weapon cards are used for like hunting and fishing and pillaging and stuff. Then you move on to the action phase, which is pretty much the longest part of the round. And that's where you're actually going to be doing all the worker placement actions. But we'll come back to that a little bit in a second. And then you're going to determine start player. You're going to get some income. You're going to breed your animals, just like most UE games. If you have 2 of the one type of animal, it, becomes pregnant. And then you have the feast. So
also like Uwe games.
Yeah. So the feast is that dinner table where you're taking the Vikings off. Well, during the round when you're doing the worker placement stuff, actually, I think you can kind of do it at any point, but you're going to place your pieces, the food icons, polyomino tiles on the table, and you have to fill it up. So every round, they're going to eat all that food on the table. You're going to get a new guy, which makes it harder to feed them all. Then you have to do it again and again and again until the game ends.
Got to feed your peoples.
Yeah, there's also, so as you're worker placing and getting all these tiles and you're putting them on your main board, you're going to get, you can surround these bonus tiles, and those are going to give you bonuses throughout the round that will give you like, maybe different resources and such. I guess I don't have a picture of it, but
I really like how you turned that phrase when you're worker placing.
Placing.
Worker placing. We got to keep
even
that.
have an ing.
As you're worker placing. I like it.
As your worker placing. Yeah. So you'll have like little spots on your board that if you surround it with other stuff, then you're going to get resources and whatnot. But anyway, that's pretty much like the whole round, right? You go through all those steps. When you do the worker placement step though, the action phase or whatever they call it, that's when you're actually going to put guys out on the main board in the middle. That's huge. And most of these are pretty simple, just like most worker placement actions, you place a guy there, you gain these things, or you place a guy here, you spend stuff to buy these things or whatever. The tiles in the game actually have like 4 versions of each tile. So you have orange, red, green, and blue. And I think that's the rarity. And there's some of the worker placement spots that will allow you to upgrade those from like green to blue or whatnot, because on your main board, it matters what colors they are, because blues can touch each other. Greens are a little bit less powerful because they can only touch on corners, and the orange and the red must be placed on can only be placed on your feed track or whatever, like the table that you're feeding your guys, but They can also be placed on other boards that you purchase that can store food, because they can actually, you can put food in there, whereas your main board is not for that. Right.
And interestingly, you can upgrade food into an item. So I guess you're trading it away.
Right. Trading it away, or it's, it's kind of cool because some of the things, like you can get like pelts from hunting, but you can turn it into the actual clothing or whatever.
Right.
So that's all. There's only a couple more things I'm going to mention that we'll talk, but basically some of the worker placement spots will allow you to do stuff as in fishing and pillaging, right? And this is where it's a little bit different, more of like a Stone Age thing, because you're going to roll dice. And in most cases, you're going to roll an 8 or a 12-sided die. And in the cases of hunting and fishing, you're simply going to roll the die and try to mitigate it down to 0. So you want a low number, and you have these fishing ships that's going to give you extra points towards that, right?
Right.
But you can also use those weapon cards that you have, like bow and arrows, or you can use, I think it's, is it or no, it's just the fishing plus that. And then when you're doing the you can also whale, but you spin spears instead, and same thing, but you're rolling a bigger die. So you're going to have worse chance of rolling a really low number. And the opposite is true for the raiding and pillaging. And that's going to allow you to go to a board that you can purchase, like these, or not purchase, but you're stealing them from other players, or not players, but you're stealing from other civilizations because you raid them or whatever.
You might as well be purchasing them. It works the same way.
Yeah, pretty much. You roll a die, you spend swords or stones to increase how many points you have to buy from this board. But essentially you're raiding it from somewhere. But you can get like goblets and relics and, religious artifacts. They're weird shaped polyominoes that can go on your board as well, basically.
Yep.
It's just another way to get polyominoes. But that's pretty much it. You're just going to place the stuff out. A lot of the game is mitigating negative points because most of your board has these -1 victory points all over it. And when you buy new boards that you can fill up, they are also going to be worth negative points for the board. So it's almost not worth it buying it unless you can cover all the stuff up on that board when you buy it. Anyway, anything else we have that we'll talk about, we will mention if we hadn't already. But let's start with you, George. Have you played this before, or is this the first time?
No, I've played it before. And it was the same. It was the same experience playing it again. Like I say, this is sort of Uwe's greatest hits tape. He goes and does all of his same themes. He does all of his same mechanisms. And that's not a bad thing. if you like it. So I'll just jump to the chase. I didn't particularly like it and still don't. To me, this game, okay, it's a feast for Odin. You could call this a feast of rectangles and squares for
a feast for Tetris.
Yeah, for people who like that sort of thing and want to play a game of it for 5 hours.
That's fair. The one thing I was kind of turned off on is the fact that everything you're doing is to mitigate yourself out of a hole.
Yeah, it's got a lot of the restrictions that Uwe is all about, and it's just irritating. It's not an engaging, fun puzzle for me. It's just tedious. God, is this game tedious.
Well, like for me, if you don't do anything, you're already at negative like 100 points, right?
Well, yeah.
Because your main board has, I think, negative 75 points worth of stuff all over it. Like the most the game is to try to get out of that and then start doing stuff to get into the positive.
And that really is just a psychological thing. Why not just do away with that and just have the scoring be somehow different? Come on, Uwe. Like, I mean, I get it. If you're a Viking and you do nothing, you're pretty worthless and you shouldn't win. Okay. But at the same time, just give positive points for things rather than giving negative points for everything. Wouldn't that be the same thing,
right?
Wouldn't it? It would. It would feel better.
It would feel better. And this is the thing I always talk about games is the psychological effect of being punished versus being rewarded.
Yeah. Yeah. He's all about the punishment. Feed your people or else. Man.
It's just a weird take, or not weird, but it's a perspective, right? Because the end result will be the exact same.
Yeah.
If you punish everybody the same rather than reward everybody the same, but you get rewarded better or whatever,
You would think, yeah.
This is why I like point salad games, because I'm getting rewarded for everything I do, but maybe I wasn't as efficient as you were, and you get rewarded more.
Well, okay, but I don't like point salad games, and this one actually strikes me as a point salad game.
Well, I'm specifically talking about the psychological effect of always getting getting rewarded for what you do.
Yeah.
Whereas in games like, Azul or whatever, you can actually be punished if you do something bad or you're not as efficient. It gives you negative points. Instead of giving me negative points, just give everybody positive points for doing better. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't get bonuses this time. I didn't get bonuses.
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
I just don't understand the punishment part of it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I like all of these mechanisms, I like worker placement. I like Tetris-y shapes, but this one's not really like that. This one is just squares and rectangles for the most part. The only cool shapes are if you go raiding, and then there's not enough cool shapes. There's just certain ones.
Agreed. I think that they needed more L-shaped pieces and more Tetris-style pieces. They literally are just mostly rectangles.
Yeah.
So
a bit dull. And then
it is a bit dull.
You don't just get to put them out, you get your dull pieces that you can't just put where you want and do something interesting with them. even with the shapes that you have to put them in very prescribed ways and in very restricted ways, like you were saying about the colors. And that seems unnecessary. It seems fiddly as anything.
I actually don't mind some of that though, because if you don't need to go through the extra steps to make the greens a blue, then don't do it and just make it up on your main board where your placement is. So if you're more efficient with placing your stuff, you kind of you can shortcut your way into filling up your board.
Yeah.
If you're only going for blues, I think you're inefficient just because there's no need to have only blues. Having greens is fine. Just, place them in such a way that you can fill in the gaps with blues or whatever.
Yeah. It does add more to it to make it more of a puzzle, I suppose, but it's not a puzzle that engages me enough.
That's fair. I don't know. Overall, I'm glad I played it. I don't know if I would purchase it, but I am looking forward to trying the expansion because I think the expansion does fix some things that I just typically, didn't like about it or whatever.
Yeah.
For the most part, I did like this game quite a bit, but I believe that I would like it more with the expansion.
What is the expansion like? A second course for Odin? A dessert for Odin? What is it?
You know what? I read all about it right after we were done playing and stuff, and it sounded really cool. And then I totally just forgot about most of it. But one of the biggest things is we'll just stick to this, but one of the biggest things is that the other boards don't seem necessary to go after, like the islands that you can go purchase. And it seems like the expansion makes it more worth it to do so. Okay. So there's some more stuff, but for the most part, this seems really fun and I'm glad I played it. But yeah, it's not a game that, I don't know, didn't live up to its expectations from me, but I did really like it.
It's not one that I'll say I really like. There are certain things that I do really like about it. And probably the best one of the whole thing is that board of worker placement where you have the rows and the columns and you have this trade-off. Are you going to do fewer, more powerful actions, or are you going to do lots of, lesser powerful actions, but many more of them? And that's a very interesting decision space.
That was really cool. I do like that you can spend more to get even more. Yeah. Put more guys out there. I mean, it takes up a lot of your actions, right? But you get rewarded for it by doing so. And there were some really good actions that people took every round. They were quite worth it. And there were some that was pretty worth it, depending on situations. Now, there is one thing I do want to ask before we wrap up here is how do you like games that do this? This game, every round gets longer and longer because you get more guys back, or you get a new guy each time. Every round technically is a little bit longer. Yep. Even though players could use those to buy bigger actions and go out of the round faster, but it seemed like every round did get slightly longer. Do you like when games get longer and longer, or when they get shorter and shorter?
Well, no, I actually do like this. I particularly like this. I like this in Everdell. I like this here. And here's what I like about it. It's not the time. This game is long. I don't think that's why this game is that long, but I'm sure it contributes to it. Okay. The length of the game does bother me. And I think it's partly because what I'm doing isn't as enjoyable as what I'm doing in Everdell, which can also be a very long game. But look, what I really like about the way that it works is that everybody gets that extra worker every round. It's not just the one person who got to go to the place to buy their extra worker. Yeah. And they did it twice. And now they've got 6 people and I've got 4 and I'm never going to catch up. It's a fair way to increase your resources throughout the game, and particularly the resource of how many workers you get. I really, really enjoy it when you don't have to fight over that, when that's not something that is competitive, because that's always going to be one of the better places to go.
Yeah, I do kind of get sick of worker placement games that have that extra worker spot. Yeah. Because it's, for the most part, that is a massively good option to do. You have to do it early on to make the most use of it in most of these worker placement games. This one just gives everybody more guys every round, and I think that's great. I'm kind of done with games that just have that spot where you go to get another guy. Yeah. Because in more cases than not, it is absolutely necessary for the most part. Yeah. If somebody else grabs it, you better grab it or you're going to just fall behind. Right. There's a very few amount of games that do it where you can stay caught up without getting your extra guy, but a lot of them don't. They have not, unless you play it like 30 times or something, you're just really good at it. That is a very, very good thing to do as early as possible.
And there are some games, like you say, that have it where getting the extra guy too many times is a trap. And it could be the cost goes up every time you get one, or the returns just aren't worth it. Yeah, it can be bad.
Or you have to feed your people, so now it becomes harder to keep them active or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. It's an interesting mechanism in those games, but I really do like the way that this one does it. Something I wanted to say about those occupation cards is that I like that it has the occupation cards and that it gives you some sort of direction in the game because there's so much going on. It's very sandboxy. You do what you want. But at the same time, I really would like it if you had a choice where you got more than just a couple cards and picked one. I would like it where you had more agency over what you get to do. And that's my biggest problem with this game, is that you don't really get to be in control of what you set out to do for these points based on the cards that you draw. If you happen, like me, to draw fishing or, whaling hooks every single time you draw, but you don't feel like killing a whale, you're out of luck.
Yeah, I can't find it real quick, but I do believe it has some way to address that in the expansion.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Not worth looking it up right now because we're only talking about the base game, but it is addressed in the expansion a little bit. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, this went on a little bit longer than I expected it to, but we're going to wrap it up. I don't know. Are you looking forward to at least trying the expansion, or are you kind of done with it?
I'll give it a try. This is a game that you'll like if you like long Euros. And
I will say it has an enormous table presence, but don't be intimidated by it because it is a pretty straightforward game.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot to teach to it.
Yeah.
But once you're playing it, you don't ever have to look at the rulebook ever.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I mean, it is very straightforward. Like, it's just a massive worker placement game with a Tetris theme.
Right. And pleasant enough and easy enough. And worker placement is always enjoyable. I think I came off a little too negative on this game. It's a good game. It's just not, it's fiddly and long for me.
That's fair. I enjoyed it. So
last thing.
Yep.
I don't feel like enough of a Viking in playing this game. I don't know. Yeah, I'm rolling dice and I'm supposedly pillaging and I'm supposedly attacking a whale. I don't know. I didn't feel it. The theme, it's got cool art. Everything looks Viking-like, but then again, at the end of the day, do I really feel like a Viking?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. All right. Well, anyway, that is A Feast for Odin. Next up on this episode, we have the Snallygaster Situation.
The Snallygaster Situation Kids on Bikes board game is the full title, and it is a 2021 game. The tagline is, find your lost friend, then defeat the monster that threatens your hometown. The designers are Michael Addison and Jonathan Gilmore. The artists are Scott O'Gara and Heather Vaughn, and the publisher is Renegade Games Studios.
So I'm not going to go over all the rules, but I will kind of give you an idea of what's going on in this game. And basically, in the Snallygaster Situation, like you said, you have some monster that you are trying to get rid of, and it has a couple of goal or scenario cards, objective cards that you're trying to complete. And it is worth mentioning we played this on Tabletopia. I believe this was a version that was for a specific convention.
Yes, there's a Renegade Con.
And, well, that makes sense. Basically, you have a map of the city and, kind of like a downtown style, like where it's like a bunch of blocks, right? Separated by roads. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because there are some FBI vans that will move around these roads. On top of that, you have the monster. I'm only speaking from this scenario, which we played. I think the Jersey Devil is what it's called.
Correct.
Or the Jersey Devil. And so other scenarios might be slightly different, but essentially the Jersey Devil is going to be moving around these different districts or blocks. And whereas the players are going to be moving around on individual squares.
I believe, yes, that's going to be the case unless there's some special rule that another monster has that changes that. That's how the monsters work. Yeah.
Right. That's how it's just defined in the rule book.
Just how they work. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the base rule. If it gets changed, it's specifically to a monster. One player is going to be called, I think it was the Lost Kid or Lost One.
The Lost Kid.
The Lost Kid. And
it's creative.
They are specifically trapped in a building somewhere on the board. They're, one of the players, or I guess if you're playing less than 5 people, then, somebody has to play that character and the rest of the people just share the other players, basically.
Yes.
So the Lost Kid can't communicate. Like, you can't just be like, I'm in this building, because that obviously defeats the purpose. However, at the beginning of the Lost Kid, the way around structure is it's the Lost Kid goes, and then 2 of the players, then the Lost Kid, and then 2 of the players. Unlike other games where they have a bad guy phase, the Lost Kid kind of represents that as well, because the Lost Kid is going to play a card from their hand onto one of these 3 piles, and that is going to have a symbol that will move around the FBI cars and vans and also move the monster around in a specific direction, in which then it's going to attack whatever district it lands in or, whatever block it lands in. But on top of that, there's a picture on there as well that tells you like a street name or a specific building, and you're using that to communicate to the other players where you're trapped at. by means of whatever deduction you think is necessary, you're trying to put cards out there to drive the other players to come find you. I'm assuming that other scenarios are like this, but at least
yes.
with the Jersey Devil, one of the scenarios is specifically to find the lost kid. And
all the scenarios are going to have find the lost kid, and the lost kid is going to be communicating where they are in that fashion in all of the scenarios.
Gotcha. All right. So basically on a player's turn, what you're going to do though, is you have a means of transportation and also
your wheels.
Yeah. And you have an item that does other things. You have these 4,
or your
like
ride,
travel
anyway.
Tokens, right? That tell you how far you can move. On your turn, you spend one of those tokens. You don't get them back unless you stop by a treehouse or you run out of tokens, then they refresh. And your wheels might augment that in some way. Maybe it'll give you another token, or maybe it'll swap out one of your tokens. Basically, these tokens just have a number on them. That's how many spaces you can move. Some of them are diagonal. Some of them are straight, right?
Right.
We'll get into that in a minute. But that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to moving around, and maybe you'll land on a specific spot that has a search token, and you can search that spot. A lot of times you'll get quests that are kind of like side quests that will give you new items, or more importantly, they will put out one of these 4 tokens on the board that you can go and collect, because the scenario the scenario has a tic-tac-toe board, like a 3x3 grid
for the Jersey Devil. Yeah.
For the Jersey Devil that you have to fill up in order to, complete that scenario.
But each of those scenarios is going to have you get those tokens and use them in some way.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. George read the rule book. I don't know why I'm not just having him explain this, but so in this Jersey Devil situation, you're putting these tokens out on this like tic-tac-toe grid, and you don't want to put them with 2 of the tokens that are the same, because much like other cooperative games that are kind of like Arkham Horror style, you do have a doom track. And if you put 2 of the tokens next to each other of the same type, it's going to increase your doom track. As a matter of fact, the doom track goes up for pretty much all kinds of reasons.
Everything that happens moves the doom track.
Yeah. And the idea is you're trying to complete all of the scenario objectives before the doom track runs out, because if it runs out, you obviously lose the game. But if you complete all the objectives, then you win the game. Anything else we'll really just point out as we're talking, but I think that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. So, George, why don't you start on this one?
Okay, well, this is one, I'm just going to say it. I really wanted to like this game. I was so excited about this one and trying to get us to play it for weeks. Finally got it to the table, and I have to tell you, it was a letdown. This one, like I said, everything that you do, everything that happens has the doom track going up. That is the punishment for various things that happen in the game. Whether the feds drive their car and catch you, or the monster attacks you in a certain spot, you move the doom track. There's no variability or excitement to that. It's just move around a map and pick up and deliver. Can you get it done, or do you get caught that many times? This game is a one-trick pony, and the coolest thing about it is that mechanism of one of the kids is lost. He has to play a card to give you a clue, and there's 3 discard piles. So if he's covering something up, that means the thing that was on that card isn't as important as the things on on the 3 cards that you can now see. So that is a very clever mechanism. I wish it was attached to a game that I enjoyed more.
That's fair. Here's the thing. I'm just going to start off by saying co-op games usually aren't my thing unless you're going through and campaign style, killing things, getting, upgrades or whatever. One-off type of games like this just aren't my forte. It's not what I gravitate towards normally.
Yep.
But with that being said, there are a lot of co-op games I do like where they're like single playthroughs or whatever.
Okay.
And I think for the most part,
I don't know if there's a single playthrough game.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Like Pandemic is a single playthrough. Like you play it, you start, you finish, you're done with the game. This is a single playthrough. You play that scenario, you're done. It's not like a campaign style. It's not like Gloomhaven or something like that where you have a character that gets built up as you play, and you take things from one game to the next.
Yes, you could play this same scenario over and over and over. Yeah.
You can, right. It's more of like like a Reset to Zero, like TV show, where each episode is its own thing, right? But maybe the stories attach throughout the scenarios, but you can play any scenario basically in any order, do whatever you want.
Gotcha.
And so anyway, what I was going to say though is, for the most part, the thing that really kind of it was to me, I'd almost rather play this like as a 3-player game where we had 5 players, I believe.
We did.
Because one character is kind of boring to play. You know, on your turn, if you move and you don't get to anything to do anything, you're done. And then maybe the other 3 players go and get to stuff, and the lost one's trying to communicate to you. And even when he's found, he becomes a character that can fully activate, and you still got the stuff you were still doing.
Right. That's true. There's not enough on an individual player's turn. I agree.
I think it's probably a best with 3 players, just because you have 2 players per character, and the lost one, even though they're only one character eventually, they still have the you know, the cards they're playing for the feds and the monster and stuff.
Right.
Other than that, like, I don't know, it's pretty standard affair. Like, I agree with what you said, that that's unique, but everything else is just kind of, I read somewhere that somebody kind of compared it to Horrified, where you go pick up, deliver, and there's a Doom track. Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the difference. Here's the difference.
All right.
In this game, this is based on a role-playing game. And the big failing for me is this game doesn't tell enough of a story.
Now, I will say there is a lot of story on the scenario cards and in the initial scenario thing and whatever. So
that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean.
Okay, gotcha.
I just mean the actual gameplay of the thing. You know, the feds, they're not doing anything particularly interesting. They're driving around in a circle. And
knocking you back to start and giving you a Doom track.
Every time. That's it. That's what they do.
And why, man? Like, they're picking on children. That doesn't make any sense. Look, I don't know anything about Stranger Things. I don't know anything about kids on bikes as far as the role-playing game goes. I get the idea behind it, but...
You've seen E.T., you know, that's how these things...
I've seen E.T., yeah.
Yeah, the feds. You can't trust the feds.
Yeah, I guess it is the campy version of feds, not like realistic version of what they should be doing. Yeah, right. Okay, I gotcha. But to me, like even the items and stuff were just kind of fluff, because you got a bike that could basically smash through barriers. Like,
right. But why does this bike get to go through fences? I don't know.
Right. Like, what's so cool about it? And then mine, the character I was playing had a motorcycle, but all it did was allow me to go further diagonals. Like, it doesn't, which I don't know if we did something wrong. I will fully admit that, but I have no clue what the difference is between a tile that allows you to move 2 diagonal and a tile that allows you to move 4 spaces. Because if you move right up, that essentially is 2 diagonal. I mean, I guess you could diagonal yourself through I don't think there's anywhere on the board that has like a fence that you can go through the diagonal or anything.
I don't remember that. No.
The movement thing just baffled me. I don't really just have a number and...
Yeah.
I don't know. So I will fully admit, I didn't go back and look to see if maybe there was a massive differentiating thing about the movement. Either way, that's a minor thing. I don't really care.
I really doubt it would change the game a lot.
Like, even if it was changed the way I was saying, it's still going to be the same game.
Right.
It was just confusing to me. But yeah, the theme on all the cards just kind of was like interesting. Like, you got dice that you can throw that are caltrops, but it makes the vans go back spaces, you know.
They only have to back up and avoid the caltrops,
I suppose, or maybe they get a flat tire and they have to fix it or something. But okay, that one's okay. That one makes somewhat sense. But the other ones, all the wheels or whatever, their little special powers.
Yeah, they were pretty abstracted. That's true.
Yeah,
I think the difference for me. And I agree that this is a good comparison to compare this to Horrified. And I'll tell you, Horrified is not one of my favorite co-ops either, because it's pick up and deliver, and it can be very samey. Go get these tokens and then do things with them. But at the same time, there's usually more things going on that you're doing with the tokens, because you're facing more monsters at once. And here you only have one. And in Horrified, you have a deck of cards that drives the monster's actions. And it's got some flavor text. It's got, you know, it has some story, some such and such of what's going on. And here, the monsters is driven by just icons on the top of the card that the Lost Kid plays with nothing. The monster moves east and attacks. Okay.
which according to the rules, we should lose after like 5 rounds, like 5 turns.
Yeah,
because
the Jersey Devil rules make no sense. Sorry, Renegade. You got to clear this up.
Yeah. And I'll just point this out there unless anybody can clarify it a little bit better. But basically the Jersey Devil says each time it attacks, it moves the doom counter up.
Right.
And it attacks every single time you play a card that has it move.
It's every round.
That symbol just says move the bad guy and attack the district.
Yeah.
So it seems like you would literally, was there 8, 9 spaces on the doom track, maybe more, but man, that would happen so fast because on top of that, there's a lot of other ways you're losing doom counters. Now I get that in this scenario, you kind of go and get, and this ain't really a spoiler because you just read all the cards at the same time. So it's not like, there's no surprises or whatever.
Right.
And you get like this super soaker that you can go and stun the monster, but you really don't get that till later. It's not like it's the first thing you should go do or whatever.
Right. That's true. And that can help. And I think that with the Jersey Devil, he doesn't actually attack if he's already attacked a place and cursed it. So that if you can get him just going back and forth in a place where he's already cursed as much as he can, it's something like that where, he won't be as effective. But again, that's really going to limit the cards that you can play. And you don't really have that option that much. So
yeah, I mean, it's not like you have a hand of 10 cards or something to pick from.
Yeah. And everything else causes the doom track to go up too. So either way, it's going to be too much.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's kind of wrap it up, I guess. For me, this wasn't something I was interested in the first place just because it's a co-op game. Mm-hmm. And I right now I'm just not super interested in co-ops, although I do have fun with them. I'm not interested in the theme. So it's really hard or unfair for me to say that, I should recommend or not recommend this game. But I will say that mechanic wise, if you strip everything out, because I'm good at doing that, I wasn't that interested in what was going on.
Yeah.
But then again, pickup and deliveries are kind of boring to me in the first place.
Yep.
So this probably isn't the best game for me to chime in on if I should recommend or not, but I will say, meh. I'll be honest with you. I like 99% of everything that John Gilmore has made. I mean, some of his games are my favorite games. So this is not obviously anything against him.
Sure.
But for the most part, this game just doesn't do it for me. But I was absolutely not the audience on multiple fronts.
Well, I won't say the same for Jonathan Gilmour. I like some of his games, I suppose. And I am very interested in his upcoming NASA Apollo game. Yeah. That one really has my interest. But so did this one. And it was, for a particular hook. And it was okay, but it didn't play out. And I just I like the hook. I like that part. I just think there needs to be more there. Maybe the other scenarios will help out with that situation. But right now, I'm going to rate this behind Horrified. And I would rate both of them behind the Back to the Future co-op game that we recently reviewed.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I would not let this to keep you away from the actual Kids on Bikes role-playing game, though.
Oh, absolutely not. No, that's... Yeah. Good time.
I mean, they just share the name.
And I really do like the theme.
And the theme. Yeah.
I do like the theme in this game, and I was hoping to like it more. I will give it another try with another scenario. I can say that. But for now, it's not a buy.
That's fair. I mean, I will try it when it comes out, like when it's actually published, because obviously this was I don't know how much will change between now and then.
Yep.
But obviously this is only reviewing the pre-published version. Actually, this isn't even a review. These are just first impressions anyway. So don't take this like an actual review like you would if you're watching other reviewers. We just speak our thoughts after playing a game a couple of times, and it's whatever.
Yep.
You hate it or like it, I don't care. We just like to do a podcast. So anyway, that is the Snallygaster Situation.
Didn't hate it, didn't particularly like it.
And the last game we have for you on this episode is Moonrakers.
Moonrakers is a 2020 release. The tag is Mercenaries Fight for Sovereignty of the Galaxy's Outlaw Coalition, the Moonrakers. The designers are Austin Harrison and Max Anderson. The artists are not mentioned, sadly. And the publisher is 4, as in Roman numeral 4, Games.
I always thought it was IV Games.
Oh, well.
I don't know, actually.
Like a
It's never
medical,
defined,
like a
so-
medical IV. I actually don't know.
Well, anyway, Moonrakers is basically a deck building negotiation game where each round you're going to be trying to complete contracts, but you can't really do a lot of the contracts by yourself. So you got to negotiate with the other players in order to get things done. And just like a typical deck builder, you got a deck of 10 cards, you draw 5 of them, and then you're ready to begin, right? So whoever's turn it is simply going to choose one of 2 options. They can either choose to, go on a contract, or they can stay back at base. And if they go to complete a contract, I'm not going to explain all the rules, but I'm going to give you a general idea. If you go to complete a contract, you choose one of the 8 contracts that are available, and you kind of put it off to the side, and you tell everybody, this is the contract I'm going after. Who wants to help me? And the negotiation can only include the reward splitting of whatever the card has. So in this case, the card that we have up on the picture, if you're watching the video, will give you 3 prestige, 6 gold, and then it has 3 hazard dice that must be rolled.
Space gold. This is a little bit more of a card that you'll see later on in the game, because when you first set up, you kind of have the weaker cards in display at first. But the game's goal, I should mention, is that you need to get to 10 victory points, prestige, I think it's called. Yep.
And you win. You immediately win. But multiple people could hit 10, and then there's some tiebreakers. Anyway, so the negotiations can't include stuff like gold that you have on your player board from previous rounds and things like that, or any kind of favors. You literally are negotiating over how you're going to split this card.
Is the money really called gold?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll look it up, but
it's a durable asset.
Yeah. Your hand is filled up with a bunch of basic cards at first, such as there's like an energy card, and there's a blaster card that does damage or whatever. There's a shield card, things like that, right? But each one has a special ability kind of built into it. For instance, we'll get to that in a second. You negotiate over what you want this card to be, whatever. So the card has some requirements. Like, for instance, this one requires you to do 6 damage and have 2 crew members played. But let's just strike that and say it was 6 damage and 2 shields instead. What that means is whoever is joining you for this contract, collectively, you need to play all those symbols, 6 damage worth of symbols and 2 shields. And the way you do that is each player only has 1 action. So it's going to be really hard to complete that. However, certain cards, just like in Dominion, will allow you to get extra actions. Like the energy card, the blue lightning bolt, when you play it, it's simply going to give you an additional action when you play it. I don't think I have any screenshots with that, but that's fine. It'll give you an additional action when you play, or 2 actions when you play it. And then you can use those 2 actions to play a card that will allow you to draw 2 cards, and then play another card that will give you a shield or whatever you do, right? The goal is for all those players to collectively come up with those as symbols you need to complete that contract. So if you complete it whatever way, then however you decided to split up the loot in a way will happen no matter what. And the reason I say that is because players who join you as an ally could mess you over and not actually help well. They can play a bunch of miscards, and they can play stuff that doesn't matter. And they might be doing that specifically to get you to fail it, even though they won't get a reward they were promised. But, obviously if you get close to 10 and you complete like an objective from your hand, which are kind of like, small objectives, but they give you a point, then you'll win the game. So they might be joining you as an ally just to screw you over, right? But even if the card is completed, they'll still get their portion of whatever's negotiated, because the negotiations will happen no matter what, the way the cards are split. And those hazard dice can be used in that negotiation, because hazard dice, when you roll them, will either give you 0, -1, or -2 points. And so those are a big deal. So George might be helping me on a card, and he'll be like, you know what? I'll take both your hazard dice rolls from you, but I want 1 of the victory points and 3 of the gold. And that could be really worth it to me if I'm going to get a victory point and like 5 gold, and don't have to worry about dealing with the hazard dice, because maybe he has something that allows him to negate those hazard symbols if he rolls them. Either way, however the contract is completed, or if it fails, the players will move on to a buy phase. in which they can purchase new crew members. Crew members actually have special abilities. These will go in your discard pile and you'll draw them on future turns. Or you can purchase parts. And the parts will go on your player board, your ship board. You have 4 slots for parts. And these are going to be like passive abilities. And they also add new basic cards to your deck as well. So like there's one that is a blue part card that gives you an extra action every round, no matter what. And there's, one that gives you like lasers that will give you damage cards to your deck, but it also gives you ability to play 2 1 damage cards as a 4 damage, so to speak. So you have 4 slots for these parts cards and you can get more, but then you replace them or whatever. If you choose the other action during your turn, instead of going out for a contract, you simply stay at the base, you get $1, you refresh some cards, you go to the buy, and your turn's pretty fast. So, that's for the most part the idea of the game. You're trying to get 10 prestige or 10 victory points, and as soon as you do that, you win. So, and I guess you started on the other 2, so I'll start on this one.
Okay.
And I'm going to start by saying, holy crap, is this game good? Man, I am blown away considering that the other game that this company published was Veiled Fate, and it was so mediocre and just meh to us.
Did not work for us.
This came out first, but we played them in the backward order, and this game is phenomenal. Like when I looked and it had an 8.1, every time that happens, I'm like, maybe that's marketing. Maybe people got jived up and, are just rating it really well. This is fantastic. Wow. This is such a good game. I love it, dude, because here's the thing. You go on this contract and it has this cosmic encounter style, like, who wants to come with me? And everybody starts to be like, well, I'll do it for this. Well, I'll do it for this. I'll take that, but I'll even take one of your hazard dice.
Yep. Super interactive.
Yeah. You were involved on every player's turn. And sometimes it's interesting because sometimes you want to be involved for a small piece. Like, George, I'll help you. I'll get one of those things. I only want 1 credit.
Right.
I've called it like 5 different things now, but whatever. The money. But I might do that, or you might do that specifically so you can, because if you help out as an ally, you also like ditch all your cards and draw 5 new cards.
Absolutely.
And you might do that as a preparation for your turn when it comes.
Yeah. Or it might be a reason not to get involved.
Right. Cause you're loaded and you're like, man, I'm going to do a contract by myself. But then that was what you drew at the end of the player after. You usually have to wait like 3 other players before it's your turn.
It's devastating.
So, oh man, such a good game.
Yes.
How do you feel about the art? Let's just go with that. That might be the only thing that we could differ on. I don't know.
Well, I think we'll definitely differ a little bit on the art. Just for example, they have cards that feature, particular crew members, and I think those cards are very well done. The minimal style is, it's not for everybody. And with the crew and with the pieces for your ship, there's enough there. There's enough background. There's enough that even though it's minimal, it still looks stylish and good. The actual cards themselves of the actions, there's just not enough there. It's too plain of a background, just a solid, block of whatever it is for that particular piece.
Yeah, it's like a really rough sketched, symbol and then some words.
Yeah, I mean, it could be clip art for those, as far as I know. It's not. I mean, it's got a little bit of fading, or I don't know, but it's not. It doesn't work for me. That's the one thing that bothers me the most about the game.
Yeah, the basic cards are really basic and minimalistic. But the weird thing is, it's a minimalistic, stylized art form that doesn't look like anything else. So it's weird because it's so unique that it's really cool. Yeah. But it also is, if this was compared to other games and there was a lot of other games with the similar art styles, I would feel less impressed by it. But I do like it because it is kind of weird. Yeah. Like quasi futuristic, but from like the 1940s future.
Yeah. The actual art for the cards that have art on them, like the contract cards, those are really well done. Really well done.
Yeah.
It's just the other cards that are just the symbols. And I do have to say that as a design choice, that really works. You can see what that card is right away. It's not, you know, I mean, it's in
He's
terms of
playing
functionality.
an action card.
Absolutely. Across the table, you can see what it is. Okay. You gotta give him credit for that. So I shouldn't ding him so much on that art because there is good art in the game.
Yeah, that's fair. But for the most part, you're not, even if you don't pay attention to the art, it is really nice to look across the table and see the symbols very clear.
Absolutely.
You know, you need 3 blues, 2 yellows, and a green.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you know, the colors, there's really just the colors in this game. And it's just so straightforward. There's no questions to be asked. There's no, what's that mean? You know?
Yeah, they're bright, well presented. And the game, on the downside, the game is quite expensive.
For the game?
For the game and for the Kickstarter. And when the game first came out and probably getting it now, you know, the game was originally $80.
That's fair. I think it's on their website for $65 at the moment.
Okay.
Not including shipping, which I think is a pretty fair price for what you get. Because I think that one comes with metal coins.
Yeah, I think they all did come with metal coins. Yeah. And so,
yeah.
And I also have to say that we played the digital version, but I've seen so many comments by people that the components are unreal in this game.
Yes.
So many people really love the components. So, you know, I guess you get what you pay for in this case. $80 seems like an awful lot to me, or $65 even for a deck building game, but the components are apparently top quality.
Well, you know, you also have to factor in the gameplay to a price, I think, too.
Oh, yeah.
And man, this game, what I really like about it is a deck builder, right? But you actually care what is happening on every other player's turn.
Right. Yeah.
Because even if you're not going to be an ally on another player's turn, you need to be an enemy where you're getting in other people's head and be like, man, don't let him get away with getting 7 of the 9 gold for that. And you're just, you're basically just giving him a victory.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're king making, you know?
Yeah. And this game, it's all about that negotiation, all about that metagaming. And I'll say that is a big plus. It's a whole lot of fun. You're always involved. There's so much engagement. But at the same time, that's a negative as well, because in negotiation games, if you exclude someone from the negotiation, if you don't involve them in the turn, you know, they have no way of participating without being invited in. And a group of players can do that to a player and basically just put them out of the game.
Yeah, I guess if they're being mean and they never allow them to get in, you could shun somebody out.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic.
Yeah, like I wouldn't play in a tournament with this game because it could be. With that being said, though, there is a couple things I really like about it. One, you feel like this game should work like Munchkin, where whoever's about to win gets, you know, crapped on by all the other players.
Right.
But the good news is they can't do that because all they can do is just not join you. But the idea of this game is you get strong enough with your crew and your parts cards to, for the last couple of rounds, actually complete the contracts by yourself.
Right. And I wonder how it would go early in the game when you're not that strong if nobody cooperated.
You have the weakest ones out there contract wise, and there's 8 to choose from. So everybody should be able to at least complete 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, you would hope so.
And then you would just have the contract list would be flooded with stuff that no one could do by themselves, even if they did complete 1 or 2 contracts by then. So I think that the game kind of self-corrects its way to the end anyway.
I would think so. I suppose you could get some groups that would have a really weird meta and they would just, you know, you shouldn't be playing this kind of game probably for those kind of groups.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to 2 things. One, the negotiation does drag the game out, so maybe a sand timer or a timer for that time, you know, negotiation period is a must.
Yep.
That depends on your group, and if you don't want the game to last 2.5, 3 hours or whatever. But the other thing is, the negotiation is one of my favorite parts about the game, simply because it limits you to what you negotiate with. Other games that allow you to negotiate for favors and future turns and things like that, they get so crazy.
Right.
With, you do this for me and I'll do this for you 10 turns from now and I'll give you $5. But in this one, it literally is, what kind of cut do you want from this? What are you going to bring to the table?
Right. And you get
this
that
is
stuff
the only thing,
whether you bring it to the table or not, which is genius. It
is genius because it allows backstabbing.
Absolutely does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our group didn't do a whole lot of that, or if any of that, but we should have.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was kind of neat. We all kind of got real close to the end and then somebody pulled off to the victory, but.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think he wanted to, it was getting late. I think he was ready for it to be over because, he did not play optimally at the end.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just got a lot of cool stuff going on. I love the parts because you feed onto your ship and then you become like this unique, asymmetrical power thing.
That idea of having deck building, but also you get powers that are outside of the deck building. The deck building is what allows you to get them, but then they're passive and constant. That's genius as well.
Oh yeah. Cause I had this part card that allowed me to, all my allies would draw a card at the beginning of a contract once we started. And so if they invited me, it's like they just needed to invite other people and everybody gets free cards, to help succeed. So from my end, it's a really valuable card. So I can ask for a little bit more going in because we had a better chance at completing it.
Yeah.
But it's just really cool, right?
It really incentivizes people to bring you in. Yeah.
Right. And then if you build your ship to where maybe you're more versatile with damage, like you obviously want to be good at everything, like a jack of all trades. That is going to be your best, I think, path to victory because you do need to be able to do stuff by yourself later on.
It's true.
You don't have to have every symbol in your deck, but you at least have to have 3 or maybe even 4.
Yeah.
Because, maybe those contracts that require the ones that you're good at don't come out.
Exactly. And that leaves you with some interesting decisions because another very clever thing this game has, it has the secret objective cards so that you might be going after certain parts on your ship in order to get a prestige. And that might not be the optimal loadout for your ship. So you have to make that trade-off. And what that does is it also leads to people going after certain cards or not going after certain cards. And it's not based just on the deck building. It's based on these secret objectives so that it gives more scope to the value and use of all the different cards on the table. You're not always fighting over the same cards, which is really good.
Yeah, it's just so cool. Really well done.
Yeah, this one was a real surprise. Deck building with negotiating done very, very well.
And in a genre that is massively flooded, i.e. deck building.
Yeah.
This one does stand out quite a bit. I am absolutely buying this game.
Oh,
it will be mine.
Is it a top 20? Do you think?
I don't know, man. Like it's
got the
close.
potential.
I need to play it a few more times before things jump in my top 20, but
yeah,
dude, it's so good. It does have a lot of potential to reach my top 20 though.
Yeah.
As of right now, it might be my favorite negotiation game. Well, no, I take that back. Vault Wars is a thing. Man, Vault Wars is pretty dope.
We have about the same taste as far as negotiation games go.
Yeah. I'd say right now my top 3 is Vault Wars, not in any order right now because I can't think out that hard. Moonrakers, Vault Wars, and Nothing Personal.
Ooh, yes. Okay. Yeah, we have about the same taste in these kind of things.
Okay, cool.
This one is definitely up there. And, negotiation, there's a lot of pitfalls in negotiation games for me. And, they don't often come off the way I want them to. And this is one I think that does it well.
All right. Fair enough. Well, we're going to wrap this up. You got anything else to say? Did you hit all your points?
I think we got it.
All right. Well, that's a great game. Thankfully, from the company Ivy Games. That is Moonrakers. All right. Well, we have reached really close to 2 hours on this one. So if you don't have anything else, I guess we're wrapping it up.
I think we'd better for 2 hours.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, we want to thank you for tuning into episode 116 of the MeepleCore Gaming Podcast. This episode was recorded on March 18th, 2021. Send your comments and questions to MeepleCore@gmail.com. Follow MeepleCore on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out the video versions of the show on YouTube. Until next time, this is Tim Jennette, the Metal Meeple.
George Breden.
Keep on rocking and rolling dice.